This will be the Monday, August 29th meeting of the Mayor and Council of City Hall. I would like to invite Sam Evans forward to lead us in the pledge. Sam? This was your idea. I think it's only appropriate that you come up here and lead this group in the pledge. If we'd all stand and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This will be an opportunity for you to ask questions of council or staff or make comments about any matter that you're interested in. I will, if you'll raise your hand, I'll recognize you, and if you'll come forward before you begin speaking, give us your name and address. So who'd like to speak tonight? That's all right. Come on forward.
Leafback, Martin's Landing. The reason I'm here tonight, I don't see Kay here.
She is at a conference of some sort, and that's why Mike Fisher's here.
Well, I see Mr. Grover's here, so maybe that's where I want to focus my question. Is I had the pleasure of being at your capital bond meeting last Monday, and I have a couple of questions specifically about the cost benefit of the AstroTurf. And Mayor, I think you hit on an excellent point. I was very pleased that you asked that question. Is the long-term impact on these as far as millage rate increased potential for the general fund? I had emailed Kay during the week and I asked her to come up with some figures, and I assume Mr. Grover's here to supply me with that information. Are you? Great. Come on.
Mr. Glover's available if the question's addressed to rec department.
I'm sorry, Julie. Julie, you have?
Lee, if you'll ask your questions, we'll
I've
if we need help from staff, we'll
I've
bring
already
it up
asked it, sir.
I
believe I've already asked.
Well,
I don't know the
rephrase
cost
the question,
benefit for the AstroTurf fields over the 10-year life of these this equipment.
Mr. Glover, if you come forward and see if you can answer that question.
Oh, yeah, good.
Yes, sir. We have analyzed the fields. I'm sorry I didn't bring the document with me. I think we emailed Kay Love this afternoon the information Mr. Fleck had asked for. I can run downstairs and get that for him in just a minute. I know I have some on my desk.
Why don't you run down there? I think Mr. Fleck had another question.
No, that's really...
Well, I'd like to hear the information, too, if it's available, Mr. Glover. If you can go get that information.
I'll go get it and bring it right back.
Okay, well, you want me to just step
If
down?
you have another question.
No.
If you will have a seat when Mr. Glover comes back, we'll answer your question.
Very well. Thank you.
Who would like to speak next? Yes, sir. Come forward.
Good evening. I'm Don Perryman, Board President of Willowbrook Townhomes on Warsaw Road. And I've been there for a quarter of a century. I've lived through several floods. They average every third year for a period of 27 years. Some of them have entered our homes, 2 that I've experienced. And I have been in touch with Mr. Mooring and Ms. Volpe in Public Works Environmental, and Councilwoman Wynn was nice enough to schedule a meeting for us last August. 2 of us from the neighborhood came, and we discussed all the difficulties. I have a general question and a couple of specific questions, and the more that can be answered, the better. The first one is, can anything be done by the city for Willowbrook before the next flood? September is a very bad month for us, so it gets on our mind, even though we're in a drought right now. We've had 3 floods since I've been there in September. One thing I've observed is that there is one drainage culvert under Warsaw Road. It has a 6-foot entrance that I've measured, and the exit on the far side, which is Roswell Creek Apartments, has a smaller exit. And it's hard to get down to, but it is well under 6 feet. And a question that I had for Mr. Mooring and Ms. Volpe over the past year, since our meeting last fall, actually, or last summer, is does that have any effect on the flow? It seems that it would. It sounds a little bit like a funnel, even if not a very narrow one. And was it designed that way? Maybe it meets standards. Maybe the entrance is just bigger than necessary. We don't know. In October 6th of last year, Ms. Volpe responded in an email and said, quote, "I would not support making a change to the culvert that increased flooding potential downstream," end quote. And again, we understand solving one person's problem and causing a bigger problem for somebody else is not a good overall solution. More recently, though, in exchanges with Mr. Mooring, first he said how difficult it is to figure out all the ramifications of these things that cause floods, but he said, quote, this is June 9th of this year, that they were looking into, quote, improve flow characteristics of that pipe without a full replacement of the pipe. That was ruled out years ago. I think it's a $200,000, $300,000 job. The townhouses are almost in the way, and so on and so forth. My second question, how could we find out why that exit is smaller and how much it might matter, and whether or not it was planned that way? Is there any thought of increasing the flow? One email indicated that it couldn't be done, and another that maybe it was being looked into. And we even have homeowners dreaming of some sort of compensation and assistance to Willowbrook, since we are a de facto retaining pond for the people downstream. And there are other retaining ponds, we understand. Some have broken in the past. Some of it's paved and developed, and I don't guess it's possible to put in detaining ponds. And finally, I know we do have a stormwater utility fee coming up soon, and I wonder if any of that would help us. And I really appreciate the chance to speak to you.
Alice, are you in a position to address these questions?
I'll try, Mr. Mayor. I am aware of the meeting or the analysis that Danelle did, and I am aware of the Mr. Mooring's email as well. We've done thorough analysis.
If you want to start over again, just for the council's benefit,
yes, sir.
I know he's sort of cut out, but if you'll sort of set the stage what the problem is from y'all's perspective, and then get into answering the questions, what the current conditions are, what the city's done to look into it.
Sure.
And then we can answer his questions, because I think we need a little context here.
Mm-hmm, sure. And by the way, I'm Alice Champagne, the Water Resources Manager. This waterway in question that this gentleman is referring to is in what we call the Warsaw Creek Basin, or the sub-watershed. It's a direct tributary to Big Creek. The culvert in question that he's referring to is just below Warsaw Road. We are aware of the flooding problems. We've analyzed the whole drainage, all the water that's coming to it, and exactly how that flows. That pipe is actually providing some detention. That's why it's of that size. And I am familiar, I haven't looked at it in a little while, but Danelle did analyze that and did recommend that no changes be made, because it will cause further flooding downstream. So I think there really is not anything that we can do at this time. We're going to have the floodplain presentation here in a little while in the work session, and we can ask questions of the state who's re-looking at the floodplain maps. But also the stormwater utility fee you asked about. if there ever was any solution that we could do in that watershed, we could certainly use that fee to do that. Is that adequate?
We'll have to ask Don Perryman. I know you may not be happy with the answers, but has she addressed your questions?
No, we've been told for a long time that we wouldn't necessarily like answers to this problem, or the lack of answers to the problem. Is it dreaming on the part of any homeowner there who gets flooded fairly regularly that we be compensated in any way for the service we are providing for the people downstream?
I'm not sure that question has not come to council. There would be two questions to answer. One is, what is the city's legal liability? And I'm not sure we've been briefed on that recently. It's been a long time since this issue has come to council. And then the next question would be, is the city wish to somehow make that a detention pond? That issue has not come to council anytime in the near future. So the council simply has not addressed the question. So I'm not going to tell you you're dreaming or not dreaming. I'm simply going to answer, council has not addressed those questions. There's no fund of money available to pay for it currently. I can't answer that question. There's no pot of money set aside for acquisition of land that's flooded. I know you're not the only person who has addressed this council about flooding issues, and the city has sort of looked at this in general, but we haven't set aside any money to acquire flooded properties.
We would be happy to meet with you again and discuss it further.
Okay. Councilmember Wynn?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Champagne, I think that when I was having the meetings with Mr. Perryman, that it looks like that area might be in the new floodplain area. And I think we strongly recommended that the occupants over in that townhouse area go ahead and look about getting flood insurance, because it could be a lot cheaper now than it is once they're finalized. But I would like to be in that meeting when you set it up with Mr. Perryman. Let's talk about this some more and see if there is a solution. Now, this is one of those things that's just, pulling out your hair, but we'll meet again and let's see what we can do. But I would get with Ms. Champagne and see if we can see about getting you some information about the flood insurance.
Thank you, sir. Who's next? Yes, sir. Come forward, please.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. I'm Mike Knight, and I live at 580 Indigo Drive in Roswell. I have a number of sort of brief items. First, I'd like to offer my congratulations to Councilmember Price on qualifying this morning. I wish you good luck in your race. Second, I'd like to thank all of you for your consideration. I guess it came up at a work session a couple of weeks ago to videotape and televise City Council meetings. I think it's a good first step in an effort to provide transparency to our citizens. Got a couple of comments. I was at the work session last week, and I really want to emphasize how pleased I was with the presentation of Steve Stroud. He was impassioned talking about the public-private partnership, and I certainly think that that's something that we need to look into. I think it makes a lot of sense, and I think as soon as we figure out what our brand is and what our value proposition is, we need to move forward with it. My concern is that I want to make sure there's enough money allocated in the right locations to make this a success from the start. The problem that I have is that I think that part of Mr. Stroud's presentation was just untrue. He's working on the basis of the reality that Roswell is business friendly, and I don't think that's the case. And if we move forward with this marketing program based on an untruth, we're bound to fail. I'll give you a couple of examples. Barker's Red Hots. I was approached by the owner. I don't know if y'all have been in there. It's a new hot dog stand at the corner of Woodstock and King Road. Great dogs, fun place. He complained about getting pushback from our city staff with regard to signs and so forth. And I appreciate the sign ordinances that we have, and I appreciate the tone and tenor that we're trying to maintain in our town. Another is my friend Bill Midiu at VFW. He remarked to me that he has a cannon that he'd like to put on prem over at the VFW. And he was told that that's a sign and it's not allowed. Which kind of brings me back to...
Now, what did he have?
A cannon. A defunct cannon. A cannon. Boom. You know, you put the powder...
But the city took the position that was a sign.
That's a sign. Which, you know, from my point of view, takes me back probably a couple of years to a cell tower fight where we had a tree that isn't a tree and was pretty... I mean, it's either a sign or it's a cannon. I don't know where you would find one mistaken for the other. And of course, the most recent is the problems that some of you may have heard about. We seem to be steeped in the South, but apparently we don't like sticky buns. We put the sticky bun lady out of business today. On Mimosa, her business cannot have signs, and I've driven up and down Mimosa, and I've seen signs that, in my reading and understanding of the city ordinances and the historic district ordinances, there are many signs that do not meet the letter of the ordinance. And my understanding is that this was complaint-based. That's what I've heard over and over when I've interacted with the city. Unfortunately, I understand during an open records request there was no identification of a complaint. So we're now faced with the question of whether a sign is going to be enforced or not, and I think we need to consider whether we have unequal enforcement. Of course, the point that underpins all of this is we're basing a marketing plan that Mrs. Diamond has worked for a long time on. And it will not work if it's based on something that isn't true. And that's my concern. I don't want to see good money being spent after bad, time and energy and effort focused where it will have no benefit to the citizens of this town. And I'd like to encourage Mayor, City Council to put a halt to the continuing development of the marketing program and instead consider commissioning a survey of anybody who has applied for a business license in this town within the past 2 years and set it up so that it's anonymous, so that the responses can be candid, and then do an assessment. If we have a problem in City Hall, then let's fix it. Our city deserves our best. We need businesses in this town. We need new businesses, and that's my request to the council tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I see Joe Glover is back. Let's have Joe Glover address Mr. Fleck's question about the benefit of AstroTurf fields, athletic fields.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're just now in the process of doing investigating of the artificial turf fields. We don't have all the information in at this time. We have consulted with all of our cities surrounding us, Alpharetta, Sandy Springs, Forsyth County, Roswell High School, Centennial, looking at the information that they had using their specifications. We've had 3 or 4 different vendors that install the artificial turf come out and look at the sites and try to analyze what we've got. We don't have the exact prices yet because we weren't asking for any bid information. But in the ballpark that they've come up with is probably, depending on the size we're looking for is somewhere around $680,000 a field. Now, I'm not sure that's still an accurate number. It may be higher, it may be lower, but that's currently the information we've got. We have one company called Forever Lawn that has given us a breakdown versus natural grass versus the synthetic turf. And basically the installation, of course, is the biggest cost. They use an installation cost of $500,000. It is probably a smaller square footage than what we've got. But using that, $500,000 for installation cost of a artificial field versus $195,000 for a turf field. Maintenance cost for artificial turf per year, based on a 10-year basis, is approximately $2,000 a year. Maintenance cost on a natural grass field averages $31,000 to $36,000, based on that. So over a 10-year period, maintenance cost is about $345,000. Maintenance cost for the artificial is approximately $20,000.
All right. Now, are we talking about replacing existing fields with AstroTurf or creating brand-new fields in a new location?
These would be replacing the grass fields with the artificial.
So we really wouldn't put the $195,000 in there because you already have that field.
That's correct.
So we would be replacing you'd look at the $500,000 over 10 years versus the $345,000 for maintenance of a regular field. Right. Over 10 years. Now, have we talked with other folks, not the vendors of our AstroTurf, but folks who have used these fields, of what their experience has been as the life of these AstroTurf fields? I know sometimes you can't trust vendors.
No, we
how long are they warranted for versus how long is it really there? Sometimes salesmen can be optimistic.
Well, all the ones we've talked to are business friendly, but we did rely on the information from other departments and the users themselves, trying to find out more about the individual companies, what their record is, how many fields they've done, what type. There's 3 or 4 different types, and we're trying to analyze all that. So we have talked to Forsyth County, Alpharetta, the schools, and we have talked to different vendors. We've had 3 or 4 vendors out, and we're getting pretty good, accurate information from all of them.
So, but it's fair to say we don't have all that information in.
No, sir, not at all.
All right. Now, the $345,000, is that a number we generated internally, or they gave to us?
That's the one that they gave, the Forever Lawn gave to us. But our figures came out just a little bit less than the $30,000.
Well, we do operate fields then.
Yeah,
and so we can look at our own numbers and determine how much it cost us to operate a field.
Yes, sir.
And are we doing that?
Yes, sir.
I would have more confidence in the number y'all generate than the number that someone generates, because we have experience in this.
The information that we got from Forever Lawn is based on the proper fertilization schedule that you would use during the year. We've cut back on fertilization and chemicals because of not having enough money to do it exactly the way it needs to be done, which we are surviving with that. So our costs are $25,000, and these estimated costs are about $31,000. So we're trying to save about $5,000-6,000 a field by not fertilizing exactly by the proper schedule.
All right. Well, it will be helpful if we have all those numbers available and other folks' experience with these fields. Now, at the end of 10 years, or whatever the life expectancy is, do we know what the replacement cost is? I would hope it would not be as much as the original installation.
The biggest cost is the grading and the base of the field. There's a lot of rock, there's a lot of sand, there's a lot of drainage, and so forth. That's the major expense. Basically, replacing the carpet would just like recarpeting your house. The cost would, I don't have an exact figure on that. Nobody wants to give us that because they're talking 10 years from now, what's it going to be?
Well, I mean, what would it be in today's numbers?
We're trying to ask him for that. We're trying to get that information, but it's about $4,000 or $5,000. Maybe a little higher than that. I'm not 100% sure.
What I can see right now is there's a lot more information to gather before we make any commitments.
We just started.
Does the council have other questions? Mr. Fleck, do you have any? Councilman Eigelhart.
Just one comment, and maybe Mr. Glover would say this at some point, but in addition to that cost element, the use of those fields can increase dramatically, because right now we have a number of fields that are turf that cannot be used because they're having to let the grass grow, essentially. So we'll actually get a much greater use of those fields, and when you talk about ROI, we don't actually have the payment in those terms for that, so it's hard to make that judgment. But the increased use, I think, well makes up for a lot of that cost, as well as not having to have additional fields that we would have to potentially purchase land or other things to try and get those fields from, because we can now use that same piece of property or that same field for, can't remember the numbers right now, but how many times we can use that versus how much it could have been used as a grass field. So that's another key element for this as well.
Yeah, so with the artificial turf, of course, we could use the field 12 months out of the year. With natural grass, we need to shut down at least 3 months in the summer to let the grass restore. Now we could take that 3 months we've been shut down and have tournaments and bring in other events and everything else, which would generate a good bit of revenue in the long run. Well, our soccer club has a big tournament that they put on, And they could even be a whole lot bigger if we had the fields that we could use without any problem.
Joe, it would be helpful to see all of these projections and all of these numbers, and also projected expectations of use of these fields, as you said. So I know there's been different numbers of fields recommended. I don't know if we need all the fields that have been recommended. I don't know if we need a few fields. I don't know what the total expectation of the people who are playing on those fields are. There's simply an awful lot of information that I still don't have before I would feel comfortable in making a decision.
And we are gathering it now.
Other questions? Councilmember Price, did you have a question? I thought I saw your hand up, or Mr. Orland's hand up.
Earlier, I was just curious if the maintenance cost, was calculated with respect to our, employee salaries and all that, as distinct from fertilizer, grass seed, et cetera.
Well, we will. We're going to make sure that we analyze everything as far as, we don't have to cut grass on the field. We're doing that 2 or 3 times a week sometimes. No watering, no fertilizing, no harsh chemicals, no herbicides. The field's already lined off when it comes from the factory, so there's no extra painting, and that's one of the biggest time-consuming efforts that we have is painting fields, getting that ready, cutting the grass, et cetera, et cetera. So, big, a lot of man-hour will save during that, which I don't have on this, but we can certainly include that.
When we get back to the maintenance of the artificial turf, I'd like to check with the other facilities who already have that artificial turf and ask what their experience is again. Because, again, I'd like to get independent information and not just what the salesman is telling us. Any other questions of council? Mr. Fleck.
I'd like to just interject a few things that should be included in this analysis. First of all, when you talk about replacement costs, you're going to have to talk about salvage and disposing of the plastic turf, and that is probably really a small issue because they do that with carpets right now. Okay, but that needs to be incorporated in your replacement cost issue. And probably the single thing that is of greatest concern to me is I think that the school's still out on the safety issue for kids at the developmental age playing on AstroTurf fields. Now, it's one thing for an adult or a youth that has grown to 80 to 90% of his physical stature and has been trained throughout the years to be playing on these fields. And remember, I have a little experience. I have been on fields. Versus, you're talking right now at $685,000 the first year. You're talking in 2012. You're going to put $6 million in. That's 9 or 10 fields. I don't know which field you're talking about, but and then you're coming back 2 years later with another $12 million, which would now be 12, isn't it?
12 is the complete total. It's 4 and 8 what we had listed.
I'll have to check those numbers, but I could have sworn that the first year you had $7 million, and of that $7 million, only 4 is for that.
Yeah, we had $4 million for that. Then there was $8 million later on for the second bond, if there's going to be a bond.
Okay, well, I'll just have to look at the numbers because that's not the way I read them. At any rate, I really think that and I noticed Councilwoman Price acknowledged the fact that there is some issues about the safety for the youth on these artificial fields, and I think that has to be a primary consideration. That's all I wanted to do, to interject there. Other than that, I really have, honest to God, I got reservations about investing that kind of money in what I call a turf war with our neighbors, Alpharetta and East Cobb, as to who has the most synthetic fields, when we could be using that money for far greater value, far greater needs with regard to attracting businesses. I've already talked about, and I noticed this evening you talk about that AMI I assume that's the seed money you got for moving traffic through Roswell. But I really think that in light of the fact that the 2030 comprehensive plan has been pretty well developed, very impressively, that we should not be focusing more on that. Mayor, you even said when this was being talked about, what can we move on now? Why do we have to wait until this comes back from the state? What can we do now? And this is what I'm talking about. Focusing on infrastructure improvements to attract real business. I'm not talking about cutting ribbon. I'm not talking about taco stands or hot dog stands. I'm talking about real commercial industry that this city needs to move into the future. And I just think that this is a poor use of taxpayers' money. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Glover. Yes, sir. Come forward.
Alex Fudali. I live at 2075 Bushy Run. And I recently read an article on the council's intention to video the council meetings. And for those of you that know me, know my passion on this issue. And I would like to just ask the council and mayor what your intention is with the concept of videoing the meetings. And why I'm asking is, instead of videoing the meetings, why not just air them live?
I will have Mrs. Diamond give you her concern about airing it live, because she's been the most... I don't have an opinion on that. Mrs. Diamond.
In our research, we have determined that those who do live broadcasts have significantly more security and have developed significantly more security because of that. We have no metal detectors. We have no process for that. Fulton County, the state, the other things that you see live do have that. And that's just a safety measure that, unless we want to invest heavily in security, the research that we've seen just doesn't bear out that. And I'm not comfortable. I can't speak for the rest of the council, but having worked in live television and seen some of the people that show up, unfortunately not everybody is rational and reasonable, and things happen. And to make us a target in this day and age, I just don't feel comfortable with. Now, I could get outvoted on council, and that's certainly a decision that can happen, but that's been my concern. And like I said, I worked at CNN the first 4 years. There was not a lot of security at that time because a lot of people didn't have cable. And it's amazing the people that, if there's a live opportunity to get themselves on TV, it brings out interesting things in people that you don't always see.
And we have very interesting people here tonight. But just a question, Mrs. Diamond, is there published research available?
I don't know.
You mentioned research.
We've talked to other cities and counties. I don't know.
So it's you're in your conversations, these are anecdotal, it's not like published research.
Right. And, I did talk to the Turner Security and about as they open up networks and what their decisions have been, because they research how they do it.
Councilwoman Diamond, we're talking about public access television. It's interesting to hear this from you, because 2 years ago when you ran, in one of the debates, you were asked if you would support airing council meetings, having them aired live.
I think I supported council meetings being televised. I don't remember ever saying live.
You did, and I was at that debate.
Oh, I remember you were there.
We're not going to have an argument here, gentlemen. I think they're two different, and ladies, they're two different opinions, so let's not argue the point anymore.
No. It's important to set people's public comments on the record.
Yours is on the record. Her response is on the record. I think you have a different memory, so we're going to leave it at that.
Okay, I don't think so. But anyway, where did you do your research? I mean, why would you go to CNN or Turner? We're talking about public access. Why not go to other municipalities? Not just in the state of Georgia, but any other state.
Well, we have community relations people here who are from other cities who have done similar things. And we have Fulton County right around the corner. And we have other TV stations that are local. And, I don't want to put Julie on the spot, but I think she can tell you that that's kind of standard practice.
live television. Before I came to the city of Roswell, I was the station manager for Palm Beach County's television station, and we did all our meetings live, but we had metal detectors, we had sheriff's deputies, things like that. So it's very important.
I think you guys are hiding behind, the today's terrorist scare and all of that. I don't believe you've done your homework on this issue, and I think this is an attempt to stymie the public's ability to know what's going on, to see how the city council conducts its business. This can be a wonderful opportunity to keep the public informed of what's going on, to let them know where their council stands on certain issues. And I can't argue with the security threat, because no matter what I say, you're going to keep coming back to that issue, and that's an issue that the American public in today's environment is extremely sensitive to. There are many municipalities, I don't know if in the state of Georgia, but across this country, that have a vibrant public access program in place that allows the citizens to know how their elected officials conduct themselves, where they stand on issues. And I wish that the council would reconsider the position of not taking that approach. We spend, Mayor Wood, when you were first elected, I was on a committee, on your communications committee. We spend months, and this I know you know, researching the concept of public access television. And it was, for whatever reason, there was this fear by the council to go in that direction. And I believe it's an attempt really to disengage the public from what goes on, at the local government. And I really wish that you would reconsider that position. There's in the Roswell Neighbor, there's a quote that it would cost $34,000 to air to tape the meetings. This isn't something that the city should be spending. You should go back to the cable operators. Under the FCC, you have the right to do that. That's where you should be collecting the funds. It shouldn't be at the expense of the citizens of Roswell. We can also tap into Roswell High School, Centennial High School, any other high school in North Fulton that have media programs. The students could have an opportunity to get real first-hand experience in working in that medium. And I ask the council to please consider those options.
Mr. Fadali, thank you for your support of televising council meetings. I like to look upon this as the glass is half full. We've made a lot. We compared to where we were 14 years ago with no cable television. Now I am hopeful we're going to have cable television that is just delayed by 24 hours, and hopefully, if things go well, we'll be able to increase the coverage and introduce some of the things. So look upon it as progress. Maybe perhaps not getting to the point you'd like to eventually see it, but it's a major step, and I think it's a step in the right direction.
Mayor, if it takes 14 years to do something in the city of Roswell, then that's a commentary on how our government operates. And I'm sorry to say that.
Thank you, sir. Who would like to speak next? Yes, sir. Come forward.
My name is Michael Harmon. I live at 12203 Lime Ridge Court, Alpharetta, Georgia 3004. I'd like to speak tonight. I'm sure y'all are aware of some of our community's emails from Crab Apple Registry. I actually I think a couple of councilmen, I know Ms. Nyman, she came out, and I think Mr. Orleans did as well, and we greatly appreciate that. I'm confused, and I want some answers. I've been involved with a lot of meetings. I spoke with Brad at the City of Roswell. I guess he's one of the people as far as when there's a permit that comes in or whatever. I really don't know who he is. But I don't understand this connectivity issue to our neighborhood. This is not going to do anything. It is a complete waste of time. If anything is public safety, think about the children's lives that one of them, when there's a car cutting through the neighborhood, is going to be splat dead on the road, all because of public access, which they're going to have anyway. Second of all, we've got a plat here that's from November 16, 2005 that says, Future Street B to be constructed before issued a building permit for Lot 16. I'm asking for an answer on this. If this is on a plat, why are people going forward with this? Is there a way that y'all can just overrule this at any time? Because if it's about emergency access vehicles, y'all are very welcome to that. Have the land, do whatever you need to do with it. We spent lots of money on green space. It's a beautiful space. You're going to tear up space. You're going to cause more traffic, potential injuries, all for a little connectivity to a neighborhood that's got 26 homes, connecting to another one that's potential 26 or 28 homes. Another issue is, we met with the builder, Ashton Woods. They have did away with that plan. At the community meeting, they continue to go forward, Roswell did, with a plan that no longer exists. And we need your help and support. I just have no clue. This is the most amazing thing to me, that this is even an issue. And to me, it's not going to do anything. And honestly, I don't like ARCT. I don't want no part of ARCT. And I want somebody to speak up on our behalf. Can y'all give me an answer as far as the plat goes?
Yes, sir, I can give you an answer. This is a matter coming before the City Council on a zoning issue at a hearing. At that time, we will hear from your neighborhood, we'll hear from staff, we'll hear from other interested citizens. It would be inappropriate at this time for the council as a body to make a decision on this without hearing all of the facts.
I'm sorry, I'm not asking for a decision. I'm asking for a thing of plat, because y'all are moving forward.
If you'll ask the question again, because I apologize, I may have misunderstood your question.
Here's a plat.
Yes, sir, and I appreciate that.
Okay. Number 31 says Future Street B to be constructed before issue a building permit for Lot 16. Lot 16 is constructed. Why is Roswell even moving forward with this? How do they even have a right? This is the way we were sold a home.
Wait a minute. Now, let's get one question at a time.
Okay.
What is your first question?
The one and only question that I have right at this moment is Future Street B to be constructed before issue a building permit for Lot 16. Lot 16 has a permit, a house on it. That means Future Street B should go away. Why are we even discussing this issue? Why is Roswell even bringing it up at the community planning meeting?
All right. Should that be addressed to my city attorney or my city zoning person? Why is this issue now before the council? Thank you, sir, for your question. We'll see if we can answer it.
And this is one other point before I leave. We asked this to Brad, and we never got an answer about this thing. And this was caught completely off guard.
As I understand the question is, why is this now coming to the council, and we'll see if we can get an answer for you.
Here, the issue is that this is a piece of property that was originally zoned in Fulton County, and there was a condition to apply interparcel access. And basically in the transition between it going from Fulton County to the city of Roswell, that condition was not enforced. So it's just something where it started in Fulton County and then it moved to the city, and that's why it was not enforced. So there's a
condition of zoning. It's coming back to council to decide whether to enforce.
Well,
that
actually,
condition?
there is a complete. Can't remember the condition is on it.
I think she's getting an answer.
I can't tell you why it was never done, because it went from one municipality to another, but the conditions transfer.
That's right, but on the conditions right here, 31, it says before the issuance of Lot 16. Lot 16 is...
I understand, but there is a condition of zoning.
Where's it at?
It's on that plat.
Okay, but where? That's what I'm asking. That's what I was asking Brad.
All right, if you'll read what the plat says to this gentleman, I think that's where the condition is.
It is, the plat is a general notes, and these are the conditions under the approval of the zoning by Fulton County. And it was not unusual in Fulton County for conditions to require for a street where there was a stub out or where they were showing future right-of-way to say that before the issuing of the final, of that building permit, that street would have to be constructed. What happened in the case of this property, it was court between the time for that road to be constructed and the property was annexed to the city of Roswell, and no one went back. No one went back.
You may disagree, sir. I think the question was, that was the answer. You may disagree with the court.
That's not the case, though. That's not the truth behind it.
What is the truth?
Okay. Pulte was trying to buy the property next to us. They were unable to do so. So this is why this came into the picture, because I don't want to be in a neighborhood that's connected to brand new homes when my homes are 6 years old, and you're going to put another neighborhood that's completely different from mine, completely different types of homes, and destroy my property value. I mean, it makes no sense.
All right. Again, this question will be addressed when it comes to the council. Your question was, why is it coming to the council? It is coming to council because a condition placed upon this by Fulton County. That's why it's coming to council.
I understand that. But is
now,
it
if you understand the answer, do you have another question?
Well, yeah, I do.
What's your second question?
Well, I want to know what y'all are going to do on the behalf of...
We're going to hear this issue and make a decision at the time it comes to this council, but it would be inappropriate for this council to make a decision without hearing from all sides.
I'm not asking for that. I would like, traffic said that they've done the research on this. Where's the proof that this connectivity is not going to cause more problems or not? There's no proof, because it's too much...
That's not a question.
That is a question. Where's the proof?
Well, we will hear from all sides and hear the positions, and if you have some evidence to submit that you believe this will create an accident, please bring that to this council, because that would be appropriate for you to submit.
So, but do we ignore this on 31 here? Because I still haven't got...
We will hear all of the facts when this comes to council. We will hear from you and hear from everyone else.
I know, but I haven't got a full answer on this 31. I mean, I'm asking the city to give me a full answer.
I think we answered your question. Do you have another question?
No.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate your coming tonight. Yes, sir, come forward.
I'm Ramesh Perumal, and I live in the same subdivision where Michael Harmon is, who talked a few minutes before. So first of all, I would like to thank you giving me opportunity to speak in front of Mayor and the City Council. See, I have been here similar, talking to the council and mayor maybe like 6 years ago when we were part of the unincorporated Fulton County and we were being annexed to the Roswell, whereas the subdivision which was just next to us, next door, they were getting annexed to Alpharetta. So we were here, we had maybe 20 homeowners here lining up one by one came here and they expressed our concern. We even gave the facts that the police station as well as the fire, everything is nearer in Roswell compared to, near in Alpharetta compared to Roswell. So we gave all our concern, but still, we just came and spoke, but I don't think our voices were heard basically. All of you are listening, but I don't know whether you heartfelt and supported or felt our concerns at that time. Similar thing happened when, 2 weeks ago, August 16th, when all our subdivision, we came here, we expressed our concern that, like Michael Harmon, we had several other concerns which I can list if you have time, but so there are several concerns, everybody came one by one, we did all our homework and we presented the case, but still this council decided that whatever they thought is the right plan. So basically the council is coming here with a predetermined decision, and that's what we always felt. And so basically, just before another person here spoke about the video live telecast versus the recorded thing, and I definitely support the live telecast because those are the things that is actually going to bring the more awareness to all the people. And people like me who still have a faith in the system, but still, for some reason, system doesn't seem to work because the council member as well as the mayor, this looks like they have a predetermined decision already made, and whatever the comments and feedbacks that we come here and give is basically ignored. These kind of things, if it is a live telecast, at least I know you are going to give little more thoughts to it before making a decision or coming to the meeting with the decision already made. So, I mean, we are going to be living here for maybe 30, 40 years, and you already, Mayor, wrote in the articles, several articles, saying that this is the Roswell city, and it's a big city, but we basically promote a small community feeling. So we are here as a small community. We already have 26 homes here built, and it is already 6 years old, and we have spent more than $18,000 a year to keep that green space, and we have spent like $100,000 so far to keep that green space, which is basically kind of a like playground for all our children and everybody. So we felt that is part of our community. We even paid taxes for it first 3 years before we came back, and we took some help to make that, like, I think now we are not paying the taxes on it. But the question is, this is the green space we had. And we were told when we originally bought these homes that this green space is probably going to remain as a green space because we were trying to build the property adjacent to it, but we couldn't buy it. So there is a time limit on it, and we had the plat that is saying that after the lot 16 permit is issued, the road will not be constructed. By the time when I came here to buy the property, lot 16 already basement was done. So I bought the property thinking that that's going to be a green space. So this is a small community. We have been here, living here. All our kids are going to be living here for the next 20, 30 years, and they are always used to that space. So it is not that the road is already there and we bought a property, then there is no question. But this is the green space. We already have been using it, and our kids are already using it. And so now that green space is going to go away, and it's basically upsetting. And it is actually, I mean, all the homeowners here basically are losing their faith in the system, because we have this kind of public hearing, which is basically system is built to hear these kind of things, but still looks like system works, but the decisions that are made by the system doesn't seem to favor the majority, whoever the people are feeling. So I don't know if that is the case with every other thing that is coming up. I don't know how we can make the system work better. So I think we can probably resolve the issue not having to build the road, as long as you can still have the emergency vehicle to go, as long as that can remain as a green space, and even if it is connected to the next subdivision which is coming in, as long as it remains as a green space, I think that will definitely give us a satisfaction that we are able to retain that space. And also, I know home value, people talking about the home value, new subdivision coming. I'm not saying that new subdivision coming is going to affect our home value, but what I'm saying is, already because this road is coming, the lot number 16, that owner already is thinking about selling the home and going somewhere else. And there is already a person who is like opposite, and they are thinking about selling the home and going. So this is the kind of things which is actually going to reduce the home value rather than the subdivision that is going to come in there. So, I mean, I know individually, I think we can definitely approach you individually, and we can definitely convince you, and that is what we are trying to do, and we definitely need your help to give us an appointment before the next meeting on September 12th. We already met with a couple of council members. We would like to meet each one of you individually and can present our case, because I know individually as a person, when we approach, we know we can definitely give our case and we can explain the situation better. But when as a group, for some reason, the decisions that are being made doesn't seem to match whatever the public is thinking. So that is I'm not asking any questions. All I'm saying is just listen to us, listen to our concern, and make a decision, which can go either way. But most of the time, I feel like the decision is being already made, and we are coming here and giving our inputs, but there is no value. I mean, there is no use. If the similar thing, if we are not going to, if our voices are not heard, next time I don't think I will come here and stand up for anything, because all our house owners, if there are any city meeting or anything, I don't think you will hear back any feedback from the public, because I'm going to lose the faith in the system basically, and that's exactly how all our house owners in our subdivision going to feel, and just wanted to express our concern in this meeting. So,
well, we have listened to you, and we hope you'll return when we have our public hearing on this.
I've always attended all the meeting. I would definitely come, and I don't want that to be my last meeting coming for any city meeting. So,
and I hope it's not your last meeting. But if you can understand, this council has made no decision. This council will hear both sides before they make any decision, I hope. And if this council made a decision from here before they heard from your side, you would be upset.
So you said there are two sides, right? Where is the other side? I mean, all our
well,
side is here.
I expect to hear from the other side at a public hearing.
I don't know if anybody came here and they said, yes, we want the road. I mean, I don't think there is a two sides. There is one side. This is actually affecting our community, and there are 26 homes here, and the road is not there right now. We have our concern. I don't see any other side. I know the city has a 40-year plan where they want to connect all the subdivisions. I'm fine with it as long as it's basically a new subdivision. When you are giving a permit, make sure the road is built. But this is the community that has already been built, and we have been living there for 6-7 years. Now we are being asked to do something which is not part of us, basically. So that's our...
You're asking, and so I appreciate you're not asking us to make a decision tonight.
Definitely.
I'm simply asking you to wait until we have a full hearing and we hear all of the facts.
Thank you, Mayor.
And we will listen to your facts. We will listen to whoever else appears that night. You will have the opportunity to speak again.
Thank you, Mayor.
And this council I have not even seen the plat. I have not seen anything about this matter.
So
I have made no decision, and I will wait until I hear all of the facts before I make a decision, and I'll keep an open mind, and I assure you that I will not commit to any position until I hear all of the facts. And I think if the council took any other position, you would not appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I mean, that's exactly, I want you, to give us a little more thought and spend some time, I know we are going to meet with you, and a couple of our people are going to meet with you this week, and similar thing, we want to meet with each one of you individually in the council, and our HOA president is already working on to get it into your calendar, and we definitely want to make sure our voices is heard, and then take a decision, basically.
You will have as much time as you wish to speak then as you had now.
Thank you.
And your voice will be heard.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wish to speak? Yes, sir. We have a question. Councilmember Price.
Regarding this, the Crabapple Registry subdivision issue, we've gotten a number of emails, and I'm just coming up to speed on the issue, but I just want to make sure that we all receive any documents that would be important. We normally get a packet that has everything in it, but I know that in the emails, I think some people thought they were attaching something and either it didn't come through or what have you. So I just want to make sure that whatever documents you sent, we will have in front of us.
Definitely. I will definitely ask my president to send to you individually and with all the attachment that is required, and definitely we will do that.
Great.
Thank you.
Good evening all. My name is Bharat Vishwanatha. I'm from the same subdivision. Actually, I'll make it pretty quick. I was wondering, can anybody define the mission statement of Roswell, please?
Well, I cannot recite it for you, but we hope to be a family-friendly community that's safe and a good place to live.
Okay, so I'm reading from your website right here. It says one of the lines is to ensure the highest quality of life. And based on this, the decision, if it would go against us, it would definitely decrease the quality of life. And number two, like you had like strategic goals as saying promote a well-designed community. This decision would be it'll make our community poorly designed. And also the other point which was here, it says sustain and protect the city's resources, and this would be totally against the strategic goals. All I'm saying is whatever decisions you make, please read the mission statement and make sure it aligns what it's intended to be. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Does anyone else wish to speak? Yes, sir, come forward.
Mr. Mayor and City Council. My name is Shirish Kundur. I'm from the same subdivision, Crabapple Registry, and reside at 12186 Lime Ridge Court. I'm here to voice my opposition to the City Planning Commission that was made on August 16th to have a connecting road between our subdivision and the subdivision coming next to us. I have a 4-year-old and we are expecting another one. You need to, I don't know if all of you or one of you, if you can come in the evening especially and see all our kids playing in that one common area we have, we greatly appreciate it. Probably that might change any of your thoughts of what that green space means to us. And I guess I'm the last member of the 26 homes who bought that house. When I bought the house, the Pulte, they said that was a green space for the subdivision, and they showed me that that one saying the house permit would not be issued if there was a road constructed already, and that's the reason I bought the house. And again, to the council member Price, we were attaching the emails, and because of the size, I think they're getting bounced. And as all of us decided not to attach the attachment, so we could send them personally to you because we are getting bounced of the emails because of the size. And hopefully, like one of my neighbors said, our HOA president will be handing over the individual documents to you personally. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir, come forward. Cricket field.
Good evening, Mayor and the council members. My name is Krishna Rauri. I'm from the same subdivision. My address is 12174 Lime Ridge Court. I'm here to, oppose the City Planning Commission, which they made a decision on August 16th to build a road between our community and the new subdivision which is coming. And we expressed our concerns on that day. Everyone came from our subdivision and expressed our concerns. In spite of that, finally they said, everyone talked about, okay, that's good, that's good. That finally they did a, unanimous decision that, everybody is opposing this one. So that's what, as Ramesh said earlier, that's what concerns us, Everyone listens, okay, these are the negative points, positive points. Unanimously it makes a decision. All planning commission members said no to that. That's what our concern is. So, as our homeowners expressed, it's going to destroy our space, green space, and which leads to the water runoff. We have only small area there, and there's a pond next to that. If you build road on there, and which is about how many feet? I'm talking about 100 feet or not less than that. I don't know what advantage we are going to get by building a road there between two subdivisions. So I request mayor and council members to eliminate the connection road between our subdivision and the new one which is coming in. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, and I encourage you to come back when the council hears this formally.
Thank you, definitely.
Anyone else wish to speak on that crabapple registry issue? So we'll try to get all those out of the way. Anyone else on that specific issue? Y'all might want to go home after this or stick around.
Sorry about that, Mayor.
You need to save a little time from home to come back for the next meeting, because that's the one in which we make a decision.
Yeah, Mayor and City Council, thanks for the time given to me. I know I'm going to repeat the same thing, but I don't want to stress the same points. I don't want to bore you with you guys. But I am the owner of the lot 16. So I am the most affected. They are talking lot 16. Basically, they are talking about me. And also it is clearly saying that, it is so unfortunate, it is so frustrating for you try to understand why we are getting so frustrated, so disappointed with all this is. There is a note, it is clearly said that road should not be built, but even though a planning commission went ahead and overruled all of us, and even though we expressed our concerns, and they have not even taken consideration of our voices or our concerns, they have made a unanimous decision based on some connectivity between subdivision to subdivision that is a desirable option. It is not written anywhere. It is not a law. It is not an amendment. But it is a desire to connect one subdivision to another subdivision. Why we should be the first victims for that one? Why? And we have been 6 years old as a community, and this new subdivision is coming up, and that builder is also not ready to build a road from our subdivision to his subdivision. But Planning Commission, just for based on desirable option, they are forcing us to build that road, so that we are going to lose our green space, and we are going to all get upset, and our children, especially my son, and everybody is asking us. I will write a letter to Mr. Mayor that asking that don't spoil our playground. Yeah, that is a good. I'm going to voice our concerns first. Then, if they don't listen, probably you may listen to our kids. Please pay attention. Please consider our concerns, and I hope you guys will listen to us. We have been already, like Ramesh told, we have been kind of under impression that Roswell is not hearing us. We have been not. This is not the first case. We have been when we came annexed from Fulton County to Roswell, and there are other instances, we can name it. There we felt that they are not hearing our voice, our concerns, but. There should be some politics, I believe. I mean, because the next neighborhood, they were able to fight it, they were able to get it, but they were saying that we have a lot of votes, probably that is the reason they're hearing us. But here in our subdivision also, everybody is a citizen. I'm a naturalized citizen. I came from India 15 years back, and I was legally working here. I've been naturalized American couple of years back. I have a lot of faith and confidence in the system, and I respect it. Please don't disappoint me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Does anyone else wish to speak on the crabapple registry issue? I appreciate your coming. I encourage you to come back. I see one more hand up. When is this issue back on the calendar? Yes, sir, if you'll come forward if you want to speak on the crabapple registry issue. But if you'll have a seat, I just want to make sure we wrap this one up. Yes, sir, you may say something else. If you'll come forward to the microphone, we keep a record of this, even though we don't videotape it right now.
Michael Harmon, my objection is not with the board, and I'm very, very passionate about this because I feel like if this road goes through, I need to consult legal counsel because we've been misrepresented some way or another, and I'm not frustrated with y'all. I'm merely frustrated with the fact that, I'd like an answer on that plat, and I really don't think I've got if you look at a plat, you say you've got this. I'd like some official answer in writing if we can get that from Brad or whoever it is from the city that says y'all do have the right to overturn what's on that plat. Now, there might be some other language on the plat, but there is that language there, and all I want is official statement so I know how to proceed with my life. Because if I've been misrepresented by someone, I need to take it up with them.
Just to make sure you understand, are you asking, does the council have the discretion to not build the road?
Well, what I'm saying is there's it says on number 31, it says that the road is not to be constructed after lot 16 has been built. My saying is, if that's the case, what gives them the right to supersede that? Are you
asking what gives the council the authority to build the road?
Yeah, because of what's on the plat.
I will ask our city attorney to respond to that question. Mr. Halsey.
I haven't seen the plat. I don't think it's appropriate at this time to comment on things. This is for the hearing, not for tonight.
No, I would just like you to see it.
If you'll bring it to my office or I'll talk to you after the meeting, sure. I'll give you an opinion that's not binding on this council.
Sure, that's what I'm saying. But I'm asking as a member of Roswell if...
I'll be happy to talk to you after the meeting.
Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to speak on crabapple registry? Gentlemen, again, when is this coming before council for a decision? September 12th. If you need to return on September 12th, at that time, the council will come before the council and to make a decision. And I assure you, this council has made no decision. I have not even seen the plat. I haven't made any decision. I would expect the rest of the council is the same way, which is appropriate. The council, is their duty to make sure they hear all the facts and all the issues before they make a decision. And that's the case here. I assure you we have made no decision, and we will be carefully listening to all points. Yes, sir, you wish to make a statement? Give us your name and address.
I didn't happen to hear the last gentleman's name and address. But my name is Michael Norman Martin. I live at 9400 Coleman Road. I've been a resident of Roswell over 10 years. And in the 10-year period that I've been living on Coleman Road, I've noticed an increase in foot traffic on Coleman Road. 10 years ago, I came before the city council and asked for some advice, and I believe it was Terry Joyner made a comment that there were plans to go ahead and put sidewalks in from Coleman Road, Coleman Ridge subdivision down to the 120, and I've just been noticing at the Plan and Review Committee's meeting for the year 2030, they talked about that was potentially going to happen in the year 2016. I come before you tonight concerned about the general welfare of the citizens who live in that area right now, because their children who I saw in strollers 10 years ago are now young teenagers. And as young teenagers are, they like to explore, and they've been walking down to the thoroughfare at the Kroger at the end of Coleman Road and 120 along the sides of Coleman Road. Both sides are very steep, treacherous terrain, and I would just like to see if you guys could, in the next few hearings, consider potentially upping the construction of the culverts and sidewalks in that area sooner rather than the year 2016 as it's proposed in the long-term plan. Another thing I wanted to make a comment about was, since I've put my name in the hat to run for Roswell City Council, I've had citizens come up to me noticing my badge and making comments. And one gentleman made a comment the other day at the ice cream social this past Sunday about the bicyclers who cut through their neighborhoods. Now, I'm a bicycler. Your Honor, I know you're a bicycler. What the comment made to me was he felt that the bicyclers were supposed to abide by the rules of the road. As we drive on the road, have to abide by these rules of the road. And I believe we have to stop at the stop signs, yield at the yield signs, look both ways before we cross the road. And this particular citizen, Mr. Robinson, who lives over in Willow Springs subdivision, in Becky Wynn's home court over there, mentioned that he notices from time to time people running the stop signs on their bicycles. Another gentleman who lives over in Martin's Landing, which has a steep grade, says that there's been many times when he's seen bicyclers just run through the stop signs there as well. And I was just wondering if there's been any other comments made from other citizens in these areas, and if the council has any ideas of potentially putting up some signs to notify the bicyclers that they do have to abide by the rules of the road. It says share the road everywhere we go, but still, if there's a stop sign, they have to stop. And if there's a yield sign, they should yield. Another topic I just heard about the turf in Roswell Parks. Mr. Fleck made a comment regarding the cost of these AstroTurf fields, and Mr. Glover mentioned the fact that there is a downtime for these natural turfs the natural grass to have to grow. And with regard to Mr. Fleck's comment regarding the child safety on the fields, I think potentially you could consider doing half the fields. Keep the old turf alive. Keep the option for young children to be able to play on the grass, smell the smells of the grass, relive their childhood, run barefoot in the grass, as opposed to putting on their AstroTurf shoes. I mean, we continue to try and make things maintenance-free, and we're losing touch with the ground that we walk on. I would encourage you all to consider that as an option. I know we have to look at the cost, but you also want to look at keeping the heritage and the lineage of Roswell for other generations to enjoy, as we who grew up here have enjoyed on these grasses. And the last topic I'd like to talk about is business friendly. I'm new to the game of politics. I'm new to the game of how the city council and the mayor works here. And I have a question, and I hope you'll allow me to be a student. The question I have before the council is, we the citizens elect the council members. If the government that we work with is not elected by the council members, but it is appointed by the council members, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the way it works? The citizens elect the council?
The council has a limited number of appointments they make. They appoint the city administrator the city attorney, and a few other charter positions. Most employees are hired and fired by the city administrator.
Okay. So the council would be in charge of appointing those who would make the business-friendly doors open and close, if you will.
Ultimately, the mayor and council is responsible.
Okay. Well, I'm going to turn to the audience here then, and I'm going to make a recommendation that you all get out and vote November 8th. If you're not happy with the way the administrators are dictating the businesses in the city of Roswell, I would encourage you to vote to change the council, because that's the only way that you're going to get any change in the way the business is operating, since those appointments come from the council members. And I would appreciate any support you could send my way as I run for Roswell City Council. Thank you, and have a good evening.
Just to respond to some of the points you raised, this council fully supports sidewalks on every street in Roswell. It's a matter of priorities as to where those sidewalks go first, because there's a limited resources. I think we're coming a council. I know I saw a council member wish to. We're going to be reconsidering our sidewalk priorities, and is that at the committee meeting? When will sidewalk priorities be coming to committee? I know the council has asked to revisit our sidewalk plan, and if the citizens are interested in sidewalk and how the city sets priorities, that committee meeting would be a good one to come to, and that date is.
Mayor, we brought it briefly up at the last committee meeting that was just last week, and we are continuing to refine our numbers. We will continue to give updates at the monthly committee meetings.
So it came up at the committee meeting when I had to be at my other job that meeting, so
yes,
I apologize for missing.
That's all right. We were given some guidance, and we will continue to refine.
The bottom line is that our policy still is to try to look at those areas which are close to schools and parks.
Yes, sir.
And that's our first priority. We have not gotten past that yet.
That's correct.
And we're concentrating those in high traffic areas like Holcomb Bridge Road. We just put some sidewalks in at the bridge. So it's a matter of setting priorities. If this council had unlimited resources, we would build all those sidewalks immediately. But we've got to set priorities, and we look at the usage, and we look at schools and parks where we're encouraging people to walk. And I don't know where Coleman Road stands on that, but if you wish to check with transportation, they could tell you where they sit in the priority. As far as bicycles, we do put up signs to tell bicyclists where to stop and where to yield. It's the same sign that applies to cars. And sometimes bicyclists run stop signs, and sometimes cars run stop signs. They are both equally in violation of the law, and our police officers are empowered to cite whether you're on a bicycle or on where in your car. You're subject to the same laws and the same penalties, and you have to follow the same rules. I do appreciate your comment about turf. I can tell you, Joe, how many ball fields and parks do we have athletic fields do we currently have? 27. We have 27. Even if this council approved every field that Joe Glover had asked for, half would still be regular turf. So I wish to see more facts, but we're not going to see a disappearance of grass fields. We're simply going to see potentially some AstroTurf fields in substitution for some of those. Thank you for coming tonight. Who else would like to speak tonight? Yes, sir, come forward.
Good evening. My name is Bill Sirkin. I live at 2060 Trotters Ridge Way. The question I have, the gentleman who just spoke, was that a campaign speech or an announcement?
Because this is not, if you wish to address the council, but this isn't the opportunity for you to question other council members.
Mr. Mayor,
the way we operate here is a citizen can speak really pretty much on any subject, and unless he goes too far out of field, I try to give a lot of latitude. But it does not include asking questions of other folks in the audience because that's not, this is for your opportunity to answer questions of mayor and council.
Please forgive me. I was not familiar with the total protocol.
Well, the protocol is this is, if you wish to speak with any of the audience, it would be at another occasion.
Certainly. Well, given that set of circumstances, is this not the forum where many of us take our time to listen to city business?
Yes, sir.
Not to hear a campaign speech.
This is not the time for campaign speeches.
Thank you, sir. One other question I have. Councilwoman Price, there is an issue before the council on a sidewalk for Old Mountain Park Road. Are you familiar at all with that issue as far as where it stands now?
No, sir, I'm not.
Okay, my understanding was it was coming to a committee, either a vote or a hearing, possibly tomorrow morning.
I don't think so. Please inform us.
Well, from what I understood, there was a referendum and a list of names that was circulated where there wasn't an issue.
I know nothing of which you speak.
You're not familiar with it?
Mr. Sturkin, I am aware of a request by some folks in Hadfield for the city to consider a sidewalk. I know it did not meet the current set of priorities because it was not within a half mile of the school. I think that's part of what prompted the city to go back and get a report on where we were on our list of priorities. Is that on a particular committee meeting for discussion? I know it was raised.
Last week.
It was Mr. Again, I apologize. I had to work at the other job that day. I had a deposition that day.
Well, others can address it, and probably Mr. Asenbrad can, but we did talk about it last Wednesday.
I think, Ms. Price, were you absent at that meeting also?
I had an excused absence, yes.
So the two people...
Well, I would like to say in deference to it, for 23 years, for about 12, I ran on that road until my knees would no longer allow that. So now I walk.
Take up bicycling.
Yes, sir. I've tried that. My respiratory endurance isn't allowing that so well either. But having said that, that road has become a dangerous thoroughfare. I've had cars over the years almost brush me on both sides of the road. So, and especially for the kids and the children and the other people who use it for cycling, walking, running, and whatever, I would certainly endorse the issue that a sidewalk is.
This council fully supports sidewalks. It's really just a matter of of trying to set priorities and trying to set a policy.
Very good. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wish to speak? Yes, sir, come forward. Mr. Evans, I think this gentleman behind you has been raising his hand several times, and I'll call upon you next. Yes, sir, come forward.
My name is Michael Gerber. I live at 9110 Nesbitt Lakes Drive in the Nesbitt Lake subdivision. And so I'm new to that neighborhood and was first like to say I'm happy I'm not part of the Crabapple Ridge subdivision. And my question or complaint...
It's a wonderful neighborhood. You just don't know what you're missing.
It sounds like they're very passionate about their neighborhood, as am I, where I've lived as well. As I mentioned, I married in January and had a house, still have a house in Johns Creek, and my wife has one over in East Cobb, so we decided to bargain and find one in the middle. So we've been there.
You're a wise man.
Thank you very much. In fact, she makes most of those decisions. But the my question is, in all fair in love and war, let's say, is we both equally have very strong executive IT careers. We take everything on a team approach, 50-50, and in some cases we've decided to say I'll take care of these particular issues or bills and vice versa. So one of them happened to be, as we moved in there, is that I asked my neighbor who they used for their trash and recycle business, and I was told to use Roswell Recycle, and I said, well, okay, that seems to make sense, and what are the other choices? And my neighbor said, I'm not aware of any other choices. So I didn't have much time, signed up for my electric and gas and so forth, and found that when I got my first bill from Roswell Recycle, there was a normal bill in there for the $22 a month for billed every 2 months for $44, and an interesting category that said balance forward for $100. So I thought, well, that must maybe be something left over from the previous resident at my house, and so I, of course, called when I had a moment at work, and much to my surprise, that's actually a deposit that's automatically put on people's bills in the city of Roswell, which I found rather interesting because I have actually an Alpharetta address. I wasn't even sure I was supposed to be subject to the city of Roswell. That's another issue. I found out actually that our neighborhood is actually half Roswell, half Alpharetta, and part of it was annexed like 12 years ago, and supposedly it takes up to 15 years for the post office to change that, which is another issue, I suppose. But so what I learned was, and having called to to somebody here in the city of Roswell, is that the $100 deposit is with no regard to whether you have good credit or bad credit, where you may have come from. And I understand that other utilities sometimes put a $25 or $50 deposit on perhaps a utility. That would be a normal thing. I came from Forsyth County, as you know, in Johns Creek, and actually was the president of my homeowners association for several years until I couldn't take that anymore and decided to let somebody else do it. But we noticed that there was competition for that particular service. There was 4 or 5 trash services in Forsyth County. Some of them did a fairly good job, and some of them not so good. And we tried to get our neighborhood to at least agree on 1 or 2 of them, so we didn't have trash cans out in our roads 5 days a week. But what I was much surprised about is that asking the question is, why are there not other choices? And I'm glad I sat and listened for a little while tonight for those who are talking about inviting new businesses to the city of Roswell, because it would seem to me that in a supposed free market society that we live in, that there would at least be a choice, at least 2. And the fact that there is no choice. And then more importantly, I was also told that that $100 deposit is primarily used to cover people who leave the area and they don't pay their last bill, or people steal the trash cans and there's a cost to that, and I understand that. And to me, I'd like to offer a solution. I actually wrote a letter to your office, and Miss Robin Kenner was kind enough to let me know about this forum here tonight. So I'm here. I'd rather be home with my wife, but when I believe in something as simple as a trash can issue, I at least want to come and at least ask the question. Would it not be more prudent if there's a collection issue on the back end to charge 1 month, so it's technically kind of paid for when people move out of the area, rather than for 4.5 months of that service? It just seems to be a little bit overreaching that somebody would have to pay $100. That doesn't seem to be a normal deposit, even for electric utility or a gas utility. And I was really more here just to, I'm hoping most of you are aware of this. If you're not, then I can't believe I'd be the only one who's actually ever questioned this. But if I am, then I'll be the pioneer for the trash can people. But I would just like to understand how it is that there are no choices. And being new to the area, new to the city of Roswell, and why not consider either inviting another business or 2 from some of the local areas. Red Oak Sanitation in Gainesville happened to be the one I used in Forsyth County, who did a fantastic job, and open it up to competition. And at a minimum, why not reduce the deposit to something that would be more reasonable than 4.5 months of trash service?
All right, you've raised 2 questions. Let's address the first one.
Okay.
I wish you were here about 4 years ago. Then you could have spent the 2 years we had in debating this issue.
I'm sure there's a lot of history on it.
And we probably had more interest in that subject than any other issue that has come before me during my 14-year administration. And we had a lot of public comment. We had went through extensive study of this. And after a lot of debates, it was the decision of this council to stick with the current system. So I will just have to tell you there are points on both sides. It was a political decision that was ultimately made to stay with our current system. And it's not one of those absolute answers of right and wrong. A political decision was made, and I don't wish to spend the next 2 years covering the same issue that we spent many years covering in the past. So it's not a right or wrong answer. It was simply an answer that this council and the citizens addressed, and I think there was a consensus on this council to stick with the current system, which really doesn't give you a choice. With regard to the $100 deposit, that decision was made. Julia, Luke, you want to address that? But perhaps she volunteered. She may regret volunteering, but she has volunteered, and I know when the decision was made, it was a recommendation of staff adopted by this council.
It was a recommendation. We did surveys of several cities around us. Roswell is unusual in that we bill every other month. So it's like he mentioned, $44 minus the $3.95 that y'all have just authorized per month, which is $7.90, I believe, off that bill. At the time that we went through and looked, we actually aged our account, and by the time you get a final bill, you will have that $44 and plus another $44, which brings it to $88. Your question about a credit rating, we're hoping with our new software that we're in the process of about to start the training periods on the part of the financial area, but utilities I think is another year out. We understand that we're going to be able to link up with an agency that can provide us with the credit rating. The current software we have right now, we cannot do that. When we can get to where we can actually look at the credit ratings, then that deposit will be adjusted based on the credit rating. But right now we don't have a way to do it, and it was a way to try and cover the final bills that we do experience here. The deposit is refundable to you once you leave the Roswell area, that you would receive that deposit back if your bill is paid in full. If it's not, then the bill is applied to the deposit and you get the difference back at that time.
I guess it was simply a business decision based upon the best recommendations of staff, and as I understand, we'll be reviewing that once in the future once we have more information available. But it's a business decision.
Okay. And I would just reiterate for the sake of redundancy that I would not so much challenge the billing process or which software we integrate to here in the city of Roswell, but more that again, having spent my entire career in the business world and trying to understand why it is that there would not be at least a choice of two, or if not more. Political decision, I understand your answer, but I would be vehemently opposed to political decisions overriding good business sense. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Who else wishes to speak tonight? Sam Evans, were you next? And then I've got a gentleman in the back. Did you wish to speak? You better get up now because Sam sometimes is lengthy.
Mr. Mayor, council members, my name is Michael Rosemuzzle. I'm a resident at 12135 Brookfield Club Drive in Brookfield West. And I apologize for not having anything too exciting tonight, and this might not be the proper forum, so please stop me, Mr. Mayor, if I'm out of line, and maybe I need to go
Don't make a long political speech. Other than that, I think you're fine.
Outstanding. And I will defer to City Council if I need to after this meeting. I'm actually here to seek a license to use 2 feet of the city right-of-way on Willow Run Drive. I've actually already, unfortunately, constructed a fence using my own hands and dad hours. And I've got a concrete pad there as well, which can be used as a parking pad as well as a basketball court. Now, the fence that's up there is it's an L-shaped fence. It's an architectural fence. Several compliments from the neighborhood. As a matter of fact, have moms coming by asking me to do work for them. But I'm a father of 6 daughters, and I don't have the time. I'm known as that guy, as the Roswell guy with 6 daughters. That's me. And so the fence was put up not to take advantage of land that was not mine, but to contain kids and to contain balls that were flowing into the street. Willow Run is adjacent to, or is the road that Brookfield Country Club is on. So you have several drivers coming down from the clubhouse. So I have compiled a license that would indemnify the city. It's a 2-foot encroachment. Unfortunately, there's no mechanism, I think, in the code at this point to allow a retrospective permit. And I've gone through McGahee and Marshall, Ace and Brock, Wooten, back to Ace and Brock, and then Davidson. And they've all been wonderful to deal with, but there's not a mechanism unless I request a license. I've drafted up the license, and it gives the city the right to remove the fence at any time for city purposes at my cost. So I just submit this for your consideration. I have.
If you will give that to Mr. Halsey, he will bring that to council for consideration. The council is here to listen and answer questions, but we're not empowered to make any decisions tonight.
Okay. Thank you.
So this is Mr. Halsey. If you'll see him after the meeting and you wish to request a license with the city, I think I'd start with Mr. Halsey.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Come forward. Thank you, sir.
One favor. My name is Sam. My name is Sam Evans, 150 Chafin Road. Y'all stand easy because I'm not running this year.
It's just not the same without you, Sam. It's just not the same.
I want to apologize to the members of the audience for looking at the back of my display boards, but what these display boards are, it concerns the Vision Center on Holcomb, on Woodstock Road. If you look in the handout that I gave you, you see a letter from Colonel Ossenbeck, written in October of last year, in which he says there's been a lot of citizens' complaint about the bad driveways, residential driveways going into this Roswell Visual Center, or whatever it is. The city of Roswell, after these, and I spoke before y'all about a year ago, and I think that's what maybe triggered some of this, but then Roswell designed an entrance into the Visual Center.
I think we're talking about the Art Center West on Woodstock Road, aren't we?
Yes, sir.
It'd be the Art Center West.
Art Center West. Now,
Or Leda Thompson Park is another name.
Right next to the Thompson Park is a proper in and out driveway, which is just the picture. 2003, as well as I can determine, is when the city opened up the Visual Arts Center West, 2003. And we're finally getting some movement on building a de-acceleration lane on an entrance coming into the Visual Arts Center. And I know Colonel Ossenbeck is frustrated because he can only build one entrance, and that's an entrance in and no entrance out. To come out of the visual art, to come out, you are facing the oncoming traffic of about 30,000 cars a day. And I'm asking y'all to consider allowing Colonel Ossenbeck to build an exit ramp going into into that. Now, I built these 3 boards for the city council, and I'm going to leave them here. As you come out of the Arts Center, here comes the road coming out, and these are residential driveways. You are actually facing the traffic coming, the 20,000, 30,000 cars coming at you. You're facing them. And to stop and go to the right, you're going to penetrate the middle lane of traffic. It is dangerous. Somewhere in there, you'll see where there's already been accidents with injuries. And I'm going to go at that. Please build the exit ramp out of the Visual Arts Center. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Does anyone else wish to speak? I've got a gentleman here from Killer Creek, Harley, who has got a request to council. It's not really part of this Citizens Night. Wanted to just get a council preview that question. But before we get to that city business, is there anyone else who has not had an opportunity to speak tonight who wishes to speak? Thank you, sir. If we'll hear from Killer Creek, they're asking for a city sponsorship on a ride, motorcycle ride, and we're running short of time, so we wanted to hear from them. We'll not be making a decision tonight, but I just wanted you all to hear the facts and the request.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, City Council, for receiving us tonight. Yes, really quickly, we're here to request consideration of an events permit for a 10-year anniversary 9/11 Memorial Benefit Run. It'll be done on Saturday, September 10th. It is starting at Killer Creek, Harley-Davidson, and we do have their approval to start the run. We're here this evening basically to request that you consider our application for an events permit for that special occasion. That's pretty much what we're here, maybe for...
You're asking for city sponsorship to furnish a couple of policemen?
And that...
Specifically what you're asking for is for the city to furnish?
Basically, it'd be 2 motor cops or police officers, whatever. One, basically, Killer Creek made us, we have to get out of there.
We don't want to send a police car to a motorcycle place, so we want to send a motor.
All right, she says I need a rolling roadblock.
You're looking for a rolling roadblock.
That's what she said.
All right, here's what you need to do. This council will consider this, but we need to have some details, some hours, what you need as far as part of this. Now, I understand it's to be a benefit. This is a fundraising effort. Yes. Do you want to tell the council what that's about?
It's about 75 or 80% of the funds will go to Humble Heroes, which is they help. Y'all are familiar. They help firemen, police officers, whoever gets hurt. Actually, the guy that owns it or runs it just got hit by a car in Atlanta a month ago. It'll go to that. We're also going to send some money up to the FDNY 9/11 fund because it's 10 years and they didn't really prepare for this and didn't have this fund back then. Basically, I'm not sure we need a rolling roadblock at this point, but I do know.
Well, y'all need to get that figured out because it will make a difference. Alice, are you the person they need to talk to? If you will get with Alice to get your application in, we'll try to promptly process it.
This is for, we got to get there. Y'all's special meeting is why we're here.
Well, let's just first get it to Alice. But I know that you wanted to, you came down tonight and wanted to give you an opportunity to.
Yes.
We're not making a decision tonight.
No, that's fine.
But to hear from you. Does the council have any questions? We're not making a decision tonight, but just wanted to get an opportunity for them to speak to y'all. Councilmember Price.
Yes, I'm aware of your issue since Wakefield has communicated that to us. It's a little irregular, the request in sense of timing, but hopefully we can make it happen if all falls into place well. And I just wanted to state also for the record that the gentleman who earlier was inquiring about transportation issues, I just want to make it clear that my liaison in the department is with this department for you and not with transportation, just for the edification and for the record. Thank you.
Any other comments? Thank you for coming. Get with Alice Wakefield. We'll see if we can process this properly.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you for coming tonight. I encourage Crabapple Registry to come to the public hearing.